This video is a complete guide to the current UK spouse visa fees and costs in 2026. Is an immigration advice authority regulated UK immigration law firm that has helped more than 5,000 partners obtain their UK partner visas. We are exceptionally well placed to discuss this. We will cover the standard spouse visa fee, the optional priority service and its cost, the immigration health surcharge, other costs which partners often overlook, and answers to commonly asked questions in relation to all of the above. At this point, note that out-of-country and in-country fees differ. This video covers both, but you should know which type you'll be applying for. In short, if the applicant has no UK visa, it's an out-of-country application that will have to be made. Only those in the UK on certain visas can apply in-country, such as applicants in the UK on a UK spouse or partner visa, UK fiancé or post-civil partnership visas, Tier 2 visas or skilled worker visas, Tier 4 long-term student or graduate visas, and Tier 5 visas, including Youth Mobility Scheme visas. The Home Office have just announced a fee increase for applications submitted on or after 8th of April 2026. For applications submitted before 8th of April 2026, the Home Office fee will be £1,321 for applications made from inside the UK and approximately £1,938 for applications made from outside the UK. For applications that are submitted on or after 8th of April 2026, the Home Office fee will be £1,407 for applications made from inside the UK and approximately £2,064 for applications made from outside the UK. I'll explain why I use the word approximately in relation to the out-of-country fee shortly. These are the fees per person applying. If dependent children apply with a parent or parents, you must pay the same fee for each child as shown in this table. You pay only for children applying. No fees applied for British or Irish children, those in the UK with settled status, or children staying abroad. To speed up processing, you can usually pay for a priority service. We cover processing times and frequently asked questions in detail at migrate.org.uk, but in brief, the standard processing time is up to 12 weeks for out-of-country applications and up to 8 weeks for in-country applications. The Super Priority service is normally available for in-country applications for an additional £1,000 per applicant and will reduce the expected processing time to 1 working day on average. If dependent children apply with the main applicant and you choose the Super Priority service, you must pay the £1,000 fee for each child too. Priority service for out-of-country applications usually costs about £500 extra per applicant and cuts the processing time to around 30 working days. Priority service is not offered for in-country applications, and the Super Priority service is not offered for out-of-country applications. Again, we have separate guidance about the current UK spouse visa processing times and optional priority service on our website, so we won't elaborate on that too much here and we'll just focus on costs. So, when do you pay the Home Office fee, and if chosen, the priority or Super Priority fee? As we explained in our UK spouse visa process and timeline video, you first complete the online application form. Second, you will have to pay the immigration health surcharge, which we'll cover soon. After paying it, you'll be sent to the Home Office fee payment page on the online application form. For out-of-country applications, only the standard fee is shown here. If you want to pay for the priority service for an out-of-country application, you must first pay the standard Home Office fee. You will then be redirected to the VFS website where the priority service fee can be paid if available. The priority service fee can usually be paid for up to the appointment date and often at the visa centre. For in-country applications, complete the online form, pay the immigration health surcharge, and then you'll reach the Home Office fee payment page. So the Super Priority service can only be bought on this page, not on the TLS website, which you'll reach after paying. If the visa expiry date allows it and the Super Priority service is not showing, you can check the page throughout the day, especially early mornings, to secure it. A somewhat hidden cost to be aware of is that the Home Office fee and the immigration health surcharge for out-of-country applications are rarely charged in British pounds. Rather, the fees will likely be listed in another currency, depending on the country from which the applicant is applying. And more significantly, the Home Office exchange rate can differ from market rates, sometimes adding up to 5% more or less than the rate you'll see on Google. You might also face foreign currency conversion fees, depending on the card used. In contrast, in-country applications are always charged in British pounds. The date the spouse visa fee is paid matters. For both out-of-country and in-country applications, you must meet the requirements on that payment date. In the immigration rules, this payment date is known as the date of application. For example, if the sponsor uses employment income to meet the financial requirement and then quits 2 days later after paying the Home Office fee, that's fine. What matters is that the requirements were met on the fee payment date. Let's look at Home Office fee refunds. Firstly, the Home Office fee is not refunded if the application is refused. Secondly, if the application is withdrawn before the applicant attends the visa centre, the Home Office fee will be refunded. Thirdly, if the application is withdrawn after the applicant has attended the visa centre, a refund is not normally provided. If you paid for the priority service for an out-of-country application and it was not decided within 30 working days, or if you paid for the super priority service for an in-country application and it was not decided by the next working day, a refund may be possible. Whether the priority or super priority fee is refunded depends on the reason for the delay. You will not normally receive a refund if the delay happened because the Home Office needed more information or evidence to make a decision. You may receive a refund if the delay was caused by something outside of their control, such as a technical issue. Let's talk about the Immigration Health Surcharge, the IHS. The IHS is a mandatory fee that gives applicants access to the UK's National Health Service, the NHS. Even if the applicant or sponsor has already paid UK taxes, this fee still applies. For out-of-country applications, the IHS is £3,105, and for in-country applications, it is £2,587.50. Like the Home Office fee, the IHS must also be paid for each dependent child included in the application. The full IHS amount must be paid up front. There is no option to pay in instalments. These are the minimum figures because there may be additional smaller costs which we'll discuss later in this video. The Immigration Health Surcharge is paid during the online application process. For both out-of-country and in-country applications, it is paid before the Home Office fee using a credit or debit card. There are 2 extra points to note. First, out-of-country fiancé visa applications don't pay the IHS for the fiancé visa itself, but they must pay it for the FLRM application, which must be submitted before the 6 months fiancé visa expires. Second, the IHS is refunded if a partner visa application is refused or withdrawn, even if the applicant has already attended the biometrics appointment. Let's now look at other smaller costs which partners may not initially expect. 1. Secure English language test costs. The costs for these vary, depending on the country in which the test is taken, and typically range from about £120 to £200. In the UK, tests cost around £180, and language cert are currently the cheapest at £150. Here are a few quick points I want to highlight, and these are discussed in more detail in our 1 hour plus spouse visa requirements YouTube video. 1. Not just any English language test will suffice, as the test must be a Home Office approved secure English language test. We list these tests on our website, migrate.org.uk. 2. There are other ways to meet the English language requirement that will not incur additional costs for certain applicants. Most notably, if the applicant is a majority English-speaking national, is age 65 or over when submitting the application, or already holds an academic undergraduate degree or higher from a UK university. And 3. Dependent children included in the application will not need to take an English language test, as the English language requirement does not apply to them. 2. There are several optional add-on services. For in-country applications, beyond the free self-service option where you upload the supporting documents online before the visa centre, additional services include the document scanning service, which costs £50 per applicant. Here you bring paper copies of your documents to be scanned and submitted. We do not usually recommend this and prefer self-uploading before the appointment. Partners may also decide to opt for a prime time appointment for an additional £60 per applicant, which provides greater availability of the visa centre appointments, as well as the £125 anytime service, which allows the applicant to visit the service point on any day of your choice during opening hours without committing to a fixed time. For out-of-country applications, the cost and the availability of other additional services vary depending on the location of the particular visa centre. You can check what services these are by visiting vfsglobal.com, then selecting the country you're applying from, and then select the UK as the destination. You will then be able to see the optional additional cost services by clicking View Services under the Premium Services subsection here. We do not generally recommend the document scanning or document upload assistance service, which tends to cost between £15 and £95. Partners tend to prefer the free alternative, which is to self-upload the documents before the visa centre appointment. 3. The immigration rules require that certain documentation not in English or Welsh must be translated. Costs vary by document type, often marriage or divorce certificates or bank statements, and by length. The more affordable translators in the UK typically charge between £40 to translate a one-page document and £85 to translate a two-page document. A few key points about document translations. First, translations can be done either in the UK or overseas. If you prefer to get the translation done by an overseas translator, you can find a list of overseas translators by googling translators and interpreters abroad gov.uk. You will see a page like this. Translations done overseas tend to be significantly cheaper than those done in the UK. Second, the immigration rules outline specific requirements for document translations. The translation must be dated and include 1. Confirmation that it is an accurate translation of the document, 2. The full name and signature of the translator or an authorised official of the translation company, and 3. The translator or translation company's contact details. For in-country applications, the translation must also include certification by a qualified translator and details of the translator or translation company's credentials. Third, if a document is in English and other languages, such as marriage certificates from Denmark, which often include multiple languages, the document does not need to be translated. 4. TB test costs. As we explained in our spouse visa requirements video, some out-of-country applicants must pay for a TB test. TB test costs vary, but usually range from £65 to £110. Dependent children included in the application must also be tested and pay the fee. For an incredibly detailed video on the UK spouse visa requirements in 2026, feel free to check this video here. We also have a video on our website, www.migrate.org.uk, that discusses the UK spouse visa process step by step.